Question 1. According to Mississippi state laws, what are the fundamental rights guaranteed by the Fourth Amendment regarding search and seizure? A. The right to a fair and speedy trial. B. The right to bear arms. C. The right to freedom of speech. D. The right to be free from unreasonable searches and seizures. Correct answer. D. The right to be free from unreasonable searches and seizures. Explanation. The Fourth Amendment to the United States Constitution, applicable to all states including Mississippi, protects individuals from unreasonable searches and seizures by government agents, including law enforcement officers. This means that individuals have the right to privacy in their persons, houses, papers, and effects, and that searches and seizures must be conducted with a warrant based on probable cause, unless an exception to the warrant requirement applies. Understanding this constitutional right is crucial for law enforcement officers to ensure that their actions comply with legal standards and respect individuals' rights. Question 2. In the context of law enforcement procedures in Mississippi, what is the primary purpose of Miranda rights? A. To inform individuals of their right to an attorney. B. To inform individuals of their right to remain silent. C. To inform individuals of their right to a jury trial. D. To inform individuals of their right to bail. Correct answer. B. To inform individuals of their right to remain silent. Explanation. Miranda rights, established by the U.S. Supreme Court in the case Miranda v. Arizona, 1966, are designed to protect an individual's Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination during custodial interrogation. Law enforcement officers are required to inform individuals of their Miranda rights, which include the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. This notification ensures that individuals are aware of their rights and can make informed decisions about whether to exercise them during police questioning. Failing to provide Miranda warnings can lead to the suppression of statements made by the individual during interrogation, as they may be deemed involuntary and in violation of constitutional rights. Question 3. What is the correct procedure for a law enforcement officer to follow when making an arrest in Mississippi? A. Arrest individuals without informing them of their rights. B. Conduct a search without probable cause. C. Inform the individual being arrested of their Miranda rights. D. Use excessive force during the arrest. Correct answer. C. Inform the individual being arrested of their Miranda rights. Explanation. In Mississippi, law enforcement officers are required to inform individuals being arrested of their Miranda rights, including the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. This is based on the Fifth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, which protects individuals from self-incrimination. Failing to inform the individual of their rights could lead to the exclusion of any statements made by the individual during questioning. Question 4. In Mississippi, what is the legal blood alcohol concentration, BAC, limit for drivers over the age of 21? A. 0.08%. B. 0.10%. C. 0.05%. D. 0.15%. Correct answer. A. 0.08%. Explanation. In Mississippi, the legal BAC limit for drivers over the age of 21 is 0.08%. Driving with a BAC above this limit is considered driving under the influence, DUI, and is a criminal offense. This limit is set based on traffic laws and is meant to ensure the safety of all road users by preventing impaired driving. Question 5. Mr. Jenkins, a law enforcement officer in Mississippi, encounters a situation where a suspect is resisting arrest and becoming increasingly aggressive. What should Mr. Jenkins do in this situation? A. Immediately use lethal force to subdue the suspect. B. Call for backup and attempt to de-escalate the situation. C. Retreat from the scene and avoid confrontation. D. Ignore the suspect's behavior and proceed with the arrest. Correct answer. B. Call for backup and attempt to de-escalate the situation. Explanation. In Mississippi, law enforcement officers are trained to prioritize de-escalation techniques in situations where suspects are resisting arrest or becoming aggressive. Using lethal force should only be a last resort when there is an imminent threat of harm to the officer or others. Calling for backup can help ensure the safety of all individuals involved and provide additional support in managing the situation effectively. Question 6. What rights are protected under the Fourth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution and how do they apply to law enforcement practices in Mississippi? A. Right to a speedy trial and legal representation. B. Protection against unreasonable searches and seizures. C. Right to remain silent and protection against self-incrimination. D. Right to confront witnesses and present evidence. Correct answer. B. Protection against unreasonable searches and seizures. Explanation. The Fourth Amendment protects individuals from unreasonable searches and seizures by law enforcement officers. In Mississippi, this means that officers must have probable cause or a warrant to conduct a search of a person or their property. This protection is intended to safeguard individuals' privacy rights and prevent arbitrary intrusions by law enforcement. Question 7. How can law enforcement officers in Mississippi effectively engage with diverse communities to build positive relationships? A. Use intimidation tactics to maintain control. B. Prioritize community policing strategies and cultural sensitivity. C. Avoid interacting with community members to prevent conflicts. D. Focus on strict enforcement without regard for community concerns. Correct answer. B. Prioritize community policing strategies and cultural sensitivity. Explanation. In Mississippi, law enforcement officers are encouraged to engage with diverse communities through community policing strategies that focus on building trust and collaboration. Cultural sensitivity plays a key role in establishing positive relationships with community members and addressing their concerns effectively. By actively listening and responding to community needs, officers can enhance public safety and promote mutual respect. Question 8. Mr. Thompson, a law enforcement officer in Mississippi, stops a vehicle for speeding on a state highway. Upon approaching the driver's window, Mr. Thompson smells a strong odor of marijuana emanating from the vehicle. What should Mr. Thompson do in this situation, considering Mississippi state laws? A. Conduct a search of the vehicle without consent. B. Ask the driver if they have any illegal substances in the vehicle. C. Request consent to search the vehicle. D. Issue a warning for speeding and let the driver go. Correct answer. C. Request consent to search the vehicle. Explanation. In the scenario described, Mr. Thompson has reasonable suspicion to believe that illegal activity, specifically possession of marijuana, may be occurring in the vehicle based on the odor he detected. However, under Mississippi law, unless there are exigent circumstances or another exception applies, law enforcement officers generally need either probable cause or voluntary consent to conduct a search of a vehicle. In this situation, Mr. Thompson should request consent to search the vehicle from the driver. If the driver consents, Mr. Thompson may proceed with the search. If the driver refuses consent, Mr. Thompson would need to determine whether he has sufficient probable cause to conduct a search without consent. Understanding search and seizure laws is essential for law enforcement officers to ensure that their actions comply with constitutional standards and state statutes while effectively enforcing the law. Question 9. What is the primary objective of community policing principles in Mississippi? A. To increase arrests and convictions. B. To foster positive relationships between law enforcement and the community. C. To decrease funding for law enforcement agencies. D. To militarize law enforcement operations. Correct answer. B. To foster positive relationships between law enforcement and the community. Explanation. Community policing emphasizes proactive engagement between law enforcement agencies and the communities they serve to address public safety issues collaboratively. In Mississippi, as in many other jurisdictions, the primary goal of community policing is to build trust, enhance communication, and develop partnerships with community members to effectively prevent crime, solve problems, and improve the overall quality of life. By working together with the community, law enforcement agencies can better understand local concerns, tailor their responses to specific needs, and promote mutual respect and cooperation. This approach contrasts with traditional reactive policing methods and highlights the importance of building strong relationships to promote public safety. Question 10. Which of the following is an example of an ethical decision-making framework that law enforcement officers in Mississippi may utilize? A. Utilitarianism. B. Cultural relativism. C. Legal positivism. D. Moral absolutism. Correct answer. A. Utilitarianism. Explanation. Utilitarianism is an ethical theory that evaluates the moral rightness of an action based on its consequences, with the goal of maximizing overall happiness or utility. In the context of law enforcement, utilitarianism may involve assessing the potential outcomes of different courses of action and choosing the one that produces the greatest good for the greatest number of people. This framework requires officers to consider factors such as the likelihood of harm, the severity of the offense, and the potential benefits of intervention when making decisions in complex and ethically challenging situations. By applying utilitarian principles, law enforcement officers in Mississippi can strive to act in a manner that promotes the well-being and safety of the community while upholding ethical standards. Question 11. Officer Rodriguez responds to a domestic disturbance call in Jackson, Mississippi. Upon arrival, he encounters a heated argument between a married couple in their front yard. The husband appears agitated and raises his voice, while the wife appears frightened and defensive. What should Officer Rodriguez do to de-escalate the situation and ensure the safety of all involved parties? A. Immediately separate the couple and question them individually. B. Intervene forcefully to restrain the husband and protect the wife. C. Use active listening skills to empathize with both parties and diffuse tensions. D. Threaten to make an arrest if the argument continues. Correct answer. C. Use active listening skills to empathize with both parties and diffuse tensions. Explanation. In this scenario, Officer Rodriguez should prioritize de-escalation techniques to reduce tension and promote a peaceful resolution to the conflict. Active listening involves attentively hearing and understanding the concerns and emotions expressed by both parties without judgment. By demonstrating empathy and acknowledging the feelings of each individual involved, Officer Rodriguez can help validate their experiences and facilitate communication to address underlying issues constructively. Forceful intervention or threats of arrest may escalate the situation further and undermine efforts to achieve a peaceful resolution. By employing effective communication and de-escalation strategies, law enforcement officers can enhance safety and prevent escalation of conflicts in the communities they serve. Question 12. Which of the following is a key component of effective written communication skills for law enforcement officers in Mississippi? A. Using complex legal terminology to demonstrate expertise. B. Ensuring reports are lengthy to provide comprehensive detail. C. Writing clearly and concisely to convey information accurately. D. Including personal opinions and biases in official documents. Correct answer. C. Writing clearly and concisely to convey information accurately. Explanation. Clear and concise written communication is essential for law enforcement officers to effectively document incidents, compose reports, and convey information to colleagues, supervisors, and other stakeholders. Using simple and straightforward language helps ensure that the intended message is communicated accurately and understood by diverse audiences, including individuals with varying levels of education and background knowledge. Additionally, concise writing minimizes the risk of misinterpretation or confusion, facilitating efficient decision-making and information sharing within law enforcement agencies. By prioritizing clarity and precision in written communication, officers can enhance the quality and effectiveness of their reports and maintain professionalism in their interactions with others. Question 13. What is the significance of the Fifth Amendment in the context of law enforcement procedures in Mississippi? A. It guarantees the right to a fair and speedy trial. B. It prohibits cruel and unusual punishment. C. It protects against self-incrimination during police questioning. D. It ensures the right to legal counsel. Correct answer. C. It protects against self-incrimination during police questioning. Explanation. The Fifth Amendment to the United States Constitution safeguards individuals from being compelled to be witnesses against themselves in criminal cases, commonly known as the right against self-incrimination. This constitutional protection applies to interactions with law enforcement officers, particularly during custodial interrogation. In Mississippi, as in other states, individuals have the right to remain silent and cannot be forced to incriminate themselves or confess to criminal activity. Law enforcement officers must respect and uphold this right by providing Miranda warnings and refraining from coercive or improper questioning tactics that could violate an individual's Fifth Amendment rights. Understanding the significance of the Fifth Amendment is essential for ensuring that police practices comply with constitutional standards and respect the rights of individuals during criminal investigations. Question 14. Which of the following is an example of bias awareness training for law enforcement officers in Mississippi? A. Learning advanced interrogation techniques. B. Studying the history of policing in the United States. C. Participating in cultural sensitivity workshops. D. Practicing marksmanship skills at the firing range. Correct answer. C. Participating in cultural sensitivity workshops. Explanation. Bias awareness training aims to educate law enforcement officers about implicit biases, stereotypes, and prejudices that may influence their perceptions, decisions, and actions in policing. In Mississippi, as in many other jurisdictions, cultural sensitivity workshops provide officers with opportunities to explore diverse perspectives, enhance their understanding of different cultures and communities, and develop strategies for overcoming biases in their interactions with the public. By promoting empathy, respect, and cultural competence, bias awareness training helps improve police-community relations, reduce the risk of discriminatory practices, and enhance the effectiveness of law enforcement efforts in serving diverse populations. Incorporating cultural sensitivity into training programs reflects a commitment to fairness, equity, and professionalism in policing practices. Question 15. Which of the following is a primary goal of emergency response protocols for law enforcement agencies in Mississippi? A. Minimizing collaboration with other emergency responders. B. Prioritizing property protection over life-saving measures. C. Ensuring the safety and well-being of individuals and communities. D. Delaying the dissemination of critical information to the public. Correct answer. C. Ensuring the safety and well-being of individuals and communities. Explanation. Emergency response protocols for law enforcement agencies in Mississippi are designed to facilitate coordinated efforts to protect public safety and respond effectively to a wide range of emergencies, including natural disasters, terrorist threats, and public health crises. The primary goal of these protocols is to prioritize the safety and well-being of individuals and communities by deploying resources, implementing strategies, and coordinating activities to mitigate risks, minimize harm, and provide assistance to those in need. Collaboration with other emergency responders, such as fire departments, medical personnel, and public health agencies, is essential for ensuring a comprehensive and integrated response to emergencies. By adhering to established protocols and guidelines, law enforcement agencies can enhance their readiness and effectiveness in addressing emergencies and safeguarding the welfare of the public. Question 16. In Mississippi, what is the primary purpose of the Fourth Amendment's requirement for probable cause in search and seizure cases? A. To ensure law enforcement officers have sufficient evidence for an arrest. B. To prevent law enforcement officers from conducting searches without justification. C. To expedite the process of obtaining search warrants. D. To increase the likelihood of successful prosecution in criminal cases. Correct answer, B. To prevent law enforcement officers from conducting searches without justification. Explanation. The Fourth Amendment's requirement for probable cause serves as a safeguard against unreasonable searches and seizures by law enforcement officers. In Mississippi, as in the rest of the United States, probable cause refers to the level of suspicion that would lead a reasonable person to believe that a crime has been or is being committed and that evidence of the crime may be found in the place to be searched. By imposing this standard, the Fourth Amendment aims to protect individuals' privacy rights and ensure that searches are conducted based on specific, articulable facts rather than arbitrary or unfounded suspicions. Probable cause acts as a check on law enforcement authority, requiring officers to demonstrate a reasonable basis for intruding upon individuals' rights and property. Understanding the role of probable cause is essential for law enforcement officers to uphold constitutional standards and respect individuals' rights during the investigative process. Question 17. Which of the following is a key principle of effective community engagement for law enforcement agencies in Mississippi? A. Maintaining a distance from community members to avoid conflicts of interest. B. Reacting only to emergencies and not participating in community events. C. Building trust and rapport through proactive interactions and collaboration. D. Using force and coercion to ensure compliance with laws and regulations. Correct answer, C. Building trust and rapport through proactive interactions and collaboration. Explanation. Effective community engagement involves building positive relationships, fostering trust, and collaborating with community members to address public safety concerns and enhance quality of life. In Mississippi, as in other jurisdictions, law enforcement agencies strive to engage with the community in meaningful ways, such as organizing community events, participating in neighborhood meetings, and partnering with local organizations to address issues of mutual concern. By proactively engaging with community members, law enforcement agencies can establish open lines of communication, gain valuable insights into local priorities and needs, and cultivate partnerships that contribute to crime prevention, problem solving, and community resilience. Building trust and rapport is essential for promoting cooperation, reducing fear and mistrust, and fostering a sense of shared responsibility for public safety and well-being. Question 18. Officer Sanchez responds to a call about a potential burglary in progress at a residence in Gulfport, Mississippi. Upon arrival, Officer Sanchez finds a broken window and hears movement inside the house. What should Officer Sanchez do in this situation, considering Mississippi state laws and law enforcement procedures? A. Enter the residence immediately to apprehend the suspect. B. Wait for backup before approaching the residence. C. Announce his presence and request the suspect to exit the residence. D. Ignore the broken window and leave the scene. Correct answer, B. Wait for backup before approaching the residence. Explanation. In the scenario described, Officer Sanchez encounters a potentially dangerous situation that requires caution and appropriate response procedures. When responding to a burglary in progress, particularly when there is evidence of forced entry and the suspect may still be inside the premises, law enforcement officers in Mississippi are trained to prioritize officer safety and await backup before taking further action. Waiting for backup allows officers to have additional support, enhances their safety during potentially hazardous situations, and increases the likelihood of a successful resolution without risking unnecessary harm or escalation. Additionally, announcing presence and requesting the suspect to exit the residence, as suggested in option C, is a standard procedure to give the suspect an opportunity to surrender peacefully while minimizing the risk of confrontation or violence. Understanding the importance of officer safety and proper response protocols is critical for law enforcement officers to effectively handle dynamic and high-risk situations while minimizing risks to themselves and others. Question 19. What is the primary purpose of the exclusionary rule in the context of criminal procedure in Mississippi? A. To allow unlawfully obtained evidence to be admitted in court. B. To provide leniency for law enforcement officers who violate constitutional rights. C. To deter illegal police conduct and uphold the Fourth Amendment. D. To expedite the criminal justice process and reduce trial delays. Correct answer: C. To deter illegal police conduct and uphold the Fourth Amendment. Explanation: the exclusionary rule is a legal principle that prohibits the admission of illegally obtained evidence in criminal proceedings. In Mississippi, as in the rest of the United States, the exclusionary rule serves as a deterrent to unconstitutional police conduct and helps safeguard individuals' Fourth Amendment rights against unreasonable searches and seizures. By suppressing evidence obtained through unlawful means, such as searches conducted without a warrant or without probable cause, the exclusionary rule aims to disincentivize law enforcement officers from engaging in misconduct and encourages compliance with constitutional standards. Upholding the exclusionary rule reinforces the integrity of the criminal justice system, protects individuals' privacy rights, and promotes respect for the rule of law. Understanding the role of the exclusionary rule is essential for ensuring fairness and accountability in law enforcement practices and maintaining public trust in the justice system. Question 20. Which of the following is a key component of effective verbal communication skills for law enforcement officers in Mississippi? A. Interrupting individuals to assert authority. B. Using technical jargon to confuse suspects. C. Speaking calmly and respectfully to de-escalate situations. D. Ignoring verbal cues and nonverbal signals. Correct answer: C. Speaking calmly and respectfully to de-escalate situations. Explanation: effective verbal communication skills are essential for law enforcement officers to interact successfully with individuals, diffuse tense situations, and maintain control over potentially volatile encounters. In Mississippi, as in other jurisdictions, officers are trained to speak calmly, clearly, and respectfully when engaging with members of the public, suspects, victims, and witnesses. By adopting a non-confrontational tone and demeanor, officers can help de-escalate conflicts, build rapport, and establish trust with those they encounter. Additionally, active listening and empathy play crucial roles in effective verbal communication, allowing officers to understand others' perspectives, address concerns, and communicate information effectively. By prioritizing clear, respectful, and empathetic communication, law enforcement officers can enhance their ability to resolve conflicts peacefully, build positive relationships, and promote public safety and trust. Question 21. What is the primary purpose of the Sixth Amendment in the context of criminal proceedings in Mississippi? A. To protect against unreasonable searches and seizures. B. To ensure the right to a fair and speedy trial by an impartial jury. C. To guarantee the right to bear arms. D. To prevent self-incrimination during police questioning. Correct answer: B. To ensure the right to a fair and speedy trial by an impartial jury. Explanation: the Sixth Amendment to the United States Constitution guarantees several rights to individuals accused of crimes, including the right to a fair and speedy trial by an impartial jury. In Mississippi, as in other states, the Sixth Amendment plays a crucial role in safeguarding defendants' rights throughout the criminal justice process, from arraignment to sentencing. This amendment ensures that individuals facing criminal charges have the opportunity to present their case before an impartial jury of their peers, receive a prompt and public trial, confront witnesses against them, and have the assistance of counsel for their defense. By upholding the principles of fairness, due process, and judicial integrity, the Sixth Amendment helps protect individuals' constitutional rights and ensures that criminal proceedings are conducted in accordance with established legal standards. Understanding the significance of the Sixth Amendment is essential for ensuring procedural fairness and adherence to constitutional principles in the administration of justice. Question 22. In Mississippi, what is the primary purpose of using body-worn cameras by law enforcement officers? A. To invade the privacy of individuals during police interactions. B. To capture evidence of criminal activity for prosecution. C. To provide transparency and accountability in police conduct. D. To increase the workload of law enforcement agencies. Correct answer. C. To provide transparency and accountability in police conduct. Explanation. Body-worn cameras are increasingly utilized by law enforcement agencies in Mississippi and across the country as a tool for enhancing transparency, accountability, and public trust in policing. The primary purpose of body-worn cameras is to record interactions between law enforcement officers and members of the public, including arrests, traffic stops, and other law enforcement activities. By capturing video and audio recordings of these encounters, body-worn cameras provide an objective record of events, which can be valuable for investigative purposes, evaluating officer conduct, resolving complaints, and promoting transparency in police operations. Additionally, body-worn cameras may help deter misconduct, reduce the use of excessive force, and improve officer and citizen behavior during interactions. Understanding the purpose and proper use of body-worn cameras is essential for law enforcement officers to comply with departmental policies, legal requirements, and ethical standards while effectively fulfilling their duties to serve and protect the community. Question 23. What role does the exclusionary rule play in the criminal justice system in Mississippi? A. Allows illegally obtained evidence to be admissible in court. B. Prohibits the use of evidence obtained in violation of constitutional rights. C. Permits law enforcement officers to conduct searches without warrants. D. Requires suspects to self-incriminate during interrogation. Correct answer. B. Prohibits the use of evidence obtained in violation of constitutional rights. Explanation. The exclusionary rule in Mississippi, based on the Fourth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, prohibits the use of evidence obtained through illegal search and seizure practices by law enforcement officers. This rule is intended to deter police misconduct and protect individuals' constitutional rights against unreasonable searches and seizures. Excluding illegally obtained evidence helps ensure fair trials and upholds the principles of justice. Question 24. What ethical considerations should law enforcement officers in Mississippi take into account when interacting with vulnerable populations? A. Practice discrimination and bias towards vulnerable individuals. B. Uphold ethical standards and demonstrate empathy and compassion. C. Ignore the needs and concerns of vulnerable populations. D. Discriminate against vulnerable populations based on personal beliefs. Correct answer. B. Uphold ethical standards and demonstrate empathy and compassion. Explanation. Law enforcement officers in Mississippi are expected to uphold ethical standards when interacting with vulnerable populations, including showing empathy and compassion towards individuals in need. Treating all individuals with respect and dignity, regardless of their circumstances, is essential in building trust and fostering positive relationships with vulnerable communities. Cultural sensitivity and awareness of bias are critical in ensuring fair and equitable treatment for all individuals. Question 25. How can law enforcement officers effectively apply de-escalation techniques during high-stress situations in Mississippi? A. Escalate the level of force to gain control of the situation. B. Use verbal communication and active listening to diffuse tensions. C. Aggressively confront individuals to assert authority. D. Ignore signs of escalation to avoid confrontation. Correct answer. B. Use verbal communication and active listening to diffuse tensions. Explanation. De-escalation techniques are a vital part of law enforcement training in Mississippi, emphasizing the use of verbal communication and active listening to reduce tensions and resolve conflicts peacefully. By de-escalating high-stress situations, officers can prevent the escalation of force and promote safer outcomes for all parties involved. Effective communication skills and situational awareness are key to successfully managing challenging encounters. Question 26. Officer Thompson responds to a call about a domestic disturbance where two individuals are involved in a verbal argument. What actions should Officer Thompson take upon arriving at the scene? A. Immediately use physical force to separate the individuals. B. Assess the situation, communicate with the individuals, and ensure their safety. C. Ignore the argument and leave the scene without intervening. D. Arrest both individuals without investigating the situation. Correct answer. B. Assess the situation, communicate with the individuals, and ensure their safety. Explanation. In scenarios involving domestic disturbances, law enforcement officers like Officer Thompson in Mississippi should prioritize assessing the situation, communicating with the individuals involved, and ensuring their safety. De-escalation techniques and conflict resolution skills are essential in diffusing tensions and preventing potential violence. This approach aligns with best practices for handling domestic disputes and promoting a peaceful resolution to conflicts. Question 27. How does the principle of procedural justice contribute to effective law enforcement practices in Mississippi? A. Focuses on imposing harsh penalties to deter criminal behavior. B. Emphasizes fairness, transparency, and respectful treatment of individuals. C. Prioritizes enforcement actions without regard for individual rights. D. Allows for arbitrary decision-making by law enforcement officers. Correct answer. B. Emphasizes fairness, transparency, and respectful treatment of individuals. Explanation. Procedural justice in Mississippi emphasizes the importance of fairness, transparency, and respectful treatment of individuals by law enforcement officers. By upholding these principles, officers can build trust within the community, enhance legitimacy, and promote cooperation with law enforcement efforts. Treating individuals with dignity and respect, regardless of the situation, reinforces the values of accountability and integrity in law enforcement practices. Question 28. What steps should law enforcement officers in Mississippi take to ensure the ethical use of force during interactions with individuals? A. Prioritize the use of excessive force to maintain control. B. Comply with departmental policies and state laws regarding use of force. C. Ignore guidelines and regulations on the use of force. D. Use force without considering the impact on individuals' rights. Correct answer. B. Comply with departmental policies and state laws regarding use of force. Explanation. Law enforcement officers in Mississippi are required to adhere to departmental policies and state laws regulating the use of force during interactions with individuals. Following established guidelines helps ensure the ethical and responsible use of force, maintaining the safety of both officers and the public. Officers should receive proper training on de-escalation techniques and use of force protocols to make informed and lawful decisions in challenging situations. Question 29. How does the concept of community trust impact the effectiveness of law enforcement efforts in Mississippi? A. Trust is not essential for successful law enforcement practices. B. Lack of community trust can hinder cooperation and crime prevention. C. Trust is only relevant in urban areas, not rural communities. D. Building trust is solely the responsibility of community members. Correct answer. B. Lack of community trust can hinder cooperation and crime prevention. Explanation. In Mississippi, the level of community trust in law enforcement plays a crucial role in the effectiveness of crime prevention efforts and public safety initiatives. When there is a lack of trust between law enforcement and the community, cooperation and engagement in crime prevention activities may be compromised. Building and maintaining trust through transparent communication, accountability, and ethical conduct can enhance community partnerships and improve the overall effectiveness of law enforcement practices. Question 30. How does the concept of implicit bias impact law enforcement practices in Mississippi? A. Implicit bias does not affect law enforcement interactions. B. can lead to unfair treatment and discriminatory practices. C. Only affects certain demographic groups, not law enforcement. D. Improves decision-making processes within law enforcement agencies. Correct answer. B. Can lead to unfair treatment and discriminatory practices. Explanation. Implicit bias, which refers to unconscious attitudes or stereotypes that influence behavior, can impact law enforcement interactions in Mississippi by leading to unfair treatment and discriminatory practices. Recognizing and addressing implicit bias through training, awareness, and cultural competence can help mitigate its negative effects in law enforcement activities. Promoting equity, fairness, and impartiality is essential in ensuring just and unbiased outcomes for all individuals.